Alright, work goes on and the beat goes on. I'm gonna clean this piano out and stuff after having drilled the pin block. Now these screws go to another piano, so I got to take these screws out. And before I forget, for some reason, just in case. So we take them out. These screws go to Centenary M, which is called it's an art case Steinway that I own that I'm going to rebuild and sell. It's just at the front of the shop. It's called the Teague Sketch 1111 from the 50s. Kind of a cool piano for mid-century modern decorating schemes and stuff. That's what these screws go to. But it's the same screws, you know, so I can just interchange them like this. These wood chips, ton of wood gets drilled out of this, right? A lot of holes. So you gotta get rid of it here, get it out of the way. So I'm going to just blow and blow and blow till it all comes out, right? Let's see, does that stream keep going okay? Oh, good, we're going. Nice. All right, we're just cleaning this guy out. So those shavings in there. Yeah, we'll get rid of them. Blow out the key bed here. circling around. All right, that's good enough for that. I think I'm going to work on the scraping the bars right here. This the paint would chip otherwise when we put the strings over. I got to scrape that off the razor blade. I don't like to use a new razor blade for this, but couldn't find an old one. So. I'm just scraping the paint off where the string will pass right over the top of these bars. And the old strings wore a groove in this metal. It's kind of soft compared to the steel of the music wire that makes up the strings. So I am going to sand off those grooves a bit. On this piano, it doesn't have rear duplex bars like the last one I strung. This has these, it's just a raised bar on the back scale. So I'm going to just scrape that off. Same thing back here. Let me go get some sandpaper. Now, I don't need to go too crazy with this. Just want to, for the most part, get the old grooves off so that I have some choices where I want to put the new string. This metal is actually quite soft. It drills through really easily. It sands really easily. It's a soft steel for sure. Now, I've heard it called two different things. Some people have even said cast iron, but I think maybe it would say cast steel or pig iron. I've heard that, but I don't know if that's the right term. But it's a soft metal anyway, so the string can embed in there. It does cut a groove just from the pressure of the tension of the string over time. This will just make it nice and clean. All right. Let's see. Let's get that where I want. So there's some divots in that metal that I'm sanding out. Okay, carry on here. Or Hiramon, since there's no one named Carrie here. Okay. It doesn't matter if I get a few scratch marks right next to the bar, because I put felt over that anyway. That being said, I'm trying to be really conscientious of where the sandpaper is so that I don't scratch the gold in a place where it would be visible inadvertently. Have a better view from back here on these. I can do it with my right hand. Kind of nice. I'm going to sand these bars back here just a little bit. I think they were already sanded before we did this, but I'm just gonna, let's see here. Do a little tiny piece there. Not too thrilled with that, but. Yeah, these were already ground and addressed when we were looking at how, how high we wanted these to be earlier. Okay. I like that fine. We got those sanded and those bars sanded off there. Now, I think I'll blow the dust off from that real quick. Now I want to put number decals on here. I'm going to clean the plate with a little bit of alcohol. This is just some denatured alcohol I'm going to put on that plate. Just so that the decals stick better, and then I'm going to put a clear coat of paint over it too, so I want that to stick nice. Okay, get my decals. Now for my decals, I'm gonna put the numbers on first. For this, I like to have a dull pencil, and we know we're going to start with 13 right here. So I'm going to go ahead and rub off a 13 right on this first note, and Steinway numbers from right to left. So some other makers will put the number on the note and then go to the right of that. But not Steinway. And I'm just really used to this. It doesn't matter either way. As long as you know which way, if you have to change the string so you know which way the maker did it so that you get the right size string on there, that's all that really matters. Okay. Oh, that 13 botched. If it messes up, you just scratch it off with your fingernail. Which begs the question, how permanent are these decals? Well, we're going to put a clear coat over them to help them be as permanent as possible, but they are pretty fragile. You might see some Steinway pianos where the decal is definitely threatening to disappear or come off or what have you. Let's try that again. That should look a little better. Okay, we got a 13. There's probably 4 notes of 13, but I'm going to get out my book that tells me what size strings are going to go on this piano. Okay, so you got like the 13 there, and we'll keep going with that. So this is a Model O. So when we get out the schedule for a Model O, and this O is a straight bass bridge. There's 2 kinds of O's that they've made in the past, and the first O of this type was made early in in 1900, and it was last made in 1904. I'm going to double check. 101987 is my serial number here, looks like. A very early piano. Huh. I'm going to double check it underneath here. Yeah, 101987, which means this piano was made, well, we already know it's should be pre 1904, and that puts it at 1901. This piano is a Model O 1901. And one way you can tell a Model O is these rings, the cooling rings, will have a single raised ring around each of them. Because there's another model, the Model L, that's the same size basically, and it'll have a double ring, and otherwise it kind of looks the same in a lot of ways. But that's how you can tell a Model O right away, okay? If you don't have any wound strings right here in the tenor, they're all plain wire strings, and those cooling holes have a single raised ring around them, Model O, okay? So here we go with the decals. So now that I got the right model in my book, we'll keep putting these decals on. So we have 6 notes of 13. And then we're going to go to 13 and a half, okay? 6 and then 13 and 1/2. Again, a dull pencil is my best move for this thing. I think they sell like a burnisher kind of that's plastic or nylon or something, but this works well. Okay. 13, and I need a small subscript 5 is what I want to put on there. Just a smaller font. Okay, success. All right, then we want 4 notes of 13 and a half, and then it goes to 14. So we need a 14 right here. Right. And 14. 4 notes of 14, and then it's 14 and a 4 notes of 14, 5 notes of 14 and a half. So there's going to be 3 notes on this side of this support, and then the other 2 notes of this 14 and a half will go on the other side of it. And since there's an odd number of notes, that means you're going to need to have a single tied string instead of a wire that goes around and becomes 2 strings. You have to, because of the odd number, you got to have a single one here. That'll come into play when we string it, of course. All right, 14 and 1/2. So we're going to put a little subscript 5. That's good enough to notate that. Okay, and that's going to go till these 2 notes, and then I'm going to put the number down here. That's going to be size 15. We might be getting close to running out of ones here on this sheet. Hopefully we have another sheet somewhere. If not, I'll have to order one, and we'll be kind of at a dead end as far as decals go on this piano. Okay, 1 and a 5. All right. There's our 15. Put them down there, and then we're going to keep going till I'll put you where you can see what we're doing here. But so that was the 15. Now we're going to, how many notes? Let's see. 6 notes of 15. 4, 6. Then we're going to put a 15 and a half. Right down here. I'll double check, triple check that. 2, 4, 6. Okay. 15. Just kind of, after I rub the shape of the, kind of go in circles to transfer that off. Works pretty well. Subscript 5. Here we go. I've said this before, but this is normally a rockin' party. I normally have some music playing, but I can't with the live streams because of copyright things. 2, 4, 6. Then we're going to have 5 notes of 16. So we need a 16 right down here. And that's the same. A lot of these Steinway scales are the same, where you have right at this point, right before these supports, you'll have an odd number of notes, and there'll be a single tied right next to the support. Now, they decide to change string sizes based on different factors. You're looking at how thick the string is, how tight it needs to be pulled to get to the right pitch. Okay, and you're looking at, you don't want to have to pull a string so tight that it would be liable to break. So you have to be below that threshold, but tight enough that it has a clear tone. And then also there's a thing that occurs with the tuning that can get messed up depending on if it's too tight or if the wire's too thick. So they have to take all that into account. Okay, now we're going to jump over here to size 16 and a half. Right up here. So there's a lot that goes into piano design, and a lot of acoustics and math you know, and they had to know about strings, obviously, and really this was done back in the 1800s. I mean, they didn't have any trouble calculating a lot of the math and the engineering of this back then. Um, Kind of cool, you know, to think. So honestly, a lot of the piano manufacturing now is figuring out how to reproduce what was done already, and to, you know, to do it well, or maybe in a faster way or cheaper way or things like that. I mean, pretty neat the way people came up with music instruments. Okay, 16 and a half for how many notes? Five, no, 6 notes, which makes more sense. 2, 4, 6, and then it's going to be size 17 forever and a year. That's the way the Steinways work. Except I'm out of number ones, and that often happens. So let me see if I have another sheet with a 1 on it of that size. I run out of all my number ones first on these sheets. Yeah, I've got 3 sheets that are really full still, but don't have any ones of that size. I didn't sweat checking too much before we did this piano though, because it's not a big deal if we have to wait for some decals to come in. I'm just trying to get as far as we can on it. There's another sheet with no ones. Okay, okay. Another one with no ones. Striking out here so far. Oh my. Oh my. I would have thought for sure I'd have a 1 somewhere in here in this group. Nope. Okay, so we're limited. But I'm going to put the other numbers anyway now while I'm thinking of it. We'll just add the 1s when I get more decals. So 16 and a half, 6 notes, 2, 4, 6. And this one's going to be 17. We almost made it. Almost made it. And usually there's 12 notes at 17 on a lot of these smaller Steinway scales. And that's the case here. So 12 notes, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Then it goes to 18. Right here. Double check that. 6, 8, 10, 12, yep. So after 17, they don't do half sizes of the wire anymore. They do the full, they just go by whole number sizes. They make bigger jumps. And that's going to be 18 for a couple notes. Oh, for 8 notes on this scale. So that's it. 4, 6, 8. So we were only short 2 1s. I might comb through my drawer right now just to check. But before I do that, I'm going to put the model letter on here. Need an O. Big old O. Okay, my O. Let's see how it goes. O kind of broke apart, so I'm going to do it again. They sometimes kind of break apart a little bit. So just scratch the old one off, no biggie. Do another O in here. Yeah, that looks good. So there's our O right there. I'm going to try put the serial number on now, which is 101,987. I'm going to use a nice big font here since I have it. Need an 8. And a 7. Okay, we got our serial number on there and our letter. That looks just great. Here's our decals, minus 2 1s. Let's see if we can come up with 2 1s, you know. It's kind of a bummer to be short just like a couple 1s. I'm gonna go check my drawer, see if I can find some. Check this stuff too. Let's see. Oh, I found 1 but it's the wrong size. Never mind. False alarm. Wait, is it the wrong size? Yeah, it's a bigger one. Okay, let me go find another 1. And if I can't, that's all the decals we're doing today. I do have another option. I have a different type of decal, but they are a little more difficult for me to work with. try one out for practice, see if it'll work. So these are vinyl. They're just a little more tricky to use for me to weed them out and all that. They're a little more robust. But man, that's hard to work with. That's my problem. I can't figure out how to work with these very well. Yeah, that's not good. Try again. These are bare. But there's 17. Yeah, that's good. That doesn't bother me at all. I'm just going to use this other type for the last two numbers. It's fine. The main function of this is that, you know, technician knows what strings to put on if they need to replace one. That didn't work out so well, but let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8. No, it's at 18. I'm going to just do a number 1 first. And this guy. Okay, there's our 1 of the 18. Now we need an 8. Well, here's an 8 for me, but the little circles of the 8, they're so small. To weed that out is going to be a challenge. I don't know if I'll be able to do it. Let's see. Oh, he's so tiny. Ooh, what a challenge here. I haven't used these type very much. I tried once and I kind of abandoned them because they're difficult to work with. I don't know where that went. Okay, try again. We will try again. I need an 18. That's all I need. Hey, that worked. Got lucky on that one. Boy. Got these from another guy. I don't know how he works with these. my goodness. Okay, now I need a tiny, tiny little something to scratch the middle of those 8s out. See if I can get like a blade or something. See, I had a what do you call it? A razor blade, right? Where to stick that? Just gonna try and weed the little middles out of this 8. Hey, I got one. It was not easy though. Sweet. Just about got it off there. There we go. 17 and 18. Great. Now we're going to spray some lacquer on this so that those decals won't rub off. Get my lacquer. Once that dries, won't take that too long to dry, and it'll be much more robust. That lacquer's the same sheen as the plate, so we'll see it start to feel like you can kind of see. Actually, in the camera, you can't even really see it already on that, but it's still a little glossy because it's still drying. But we're getting there. Just let it dry for a sec. Maybe I'll put a fan on it here for a second. And we've got a fan on that. Okay, we got our decals. Just letting that lacquer dry on there for a sec. Ten notes of single strings on these smaller Steinway models. Then it goes to 2 notes per or 2 strings per note. 2 notes per string. Now that would be a real feat. And these first few are really fat strings. So these holes are a little bit further apart on these first 4 that have 2 strings per note. Good. And then we put the rest of these, there's 2 strings per note, and the holes are a little closer together. This set of A graphs is for a different model, so it has a different count of these double ones. But I'll just mix and match as needed with my other extras. Then we got 3 strings per note up here. Whoops-a-daisy. I need to grab a couple more of these grass 7/32 with 3 holes. And I have some just over on the workbench. Come on, get in the hole there, friend. There we go. And the last one. Yeah. We're getting these A-grafts now. Those aren't going to work so well the way we have them, right? We need to tighten them down and align them, huh? So we'll do that. Set the torque on these kind of light. I don't want to break one. Maybe even lighter. Get my T-handle to tighten these on and off here. My T-handle from Mr. T. So these things have to be tight. But the tricky thing is when they're tight, they have to be aligned in the correct position for the string. So there's a way to go about getting them that way, but it's kind of tricky. So first of all, I'm going to tighten them as much as I can, because the drill didn't get them all the way tight. I mean, they don't have to hold on the wheels to a bus or anything, but they have to be snug. So going back and forth, there's paint under there, so going back and forth kind of helps me gauge how tight it is, that I'm not tightening it too much, but then get it right there. These are called A-graphs, if you didn't know. Made out of brass. String passes through the holes in these, and it becomes the stop point for to make that particular note, so that the string's a certain length. You know what I'm saying with that? Or even if you don't know what I'm saying with it. No, it's pretty simple, right? Even though the string doesn't anchor in these, where the string will stop vibrating will be there, because it has to then travel up, so it's like a pinch point where it kind of stops it. And I might slightly, if anything, just kind of under-rotate them. And when I go to put my strings on, I'll check the alignment, and because I'll be able to see better what's the path of the string. And I just set the heads of these perpendicular to that. Do kind of a final cinching a little later there. I'll get you in on this action here. You're watching that. Okay, so we need to line those. They're turned every which way, right? So line them without breaking them. That's not what I wanted to do. Go. We love the easy ones. Take all the freebies I can get on this. Go. Rest the hands. This used to take me like a long time to do this, and then now I've gotten better. It doesn't. You know how you learn how to tighten them, but just to where they won't break? It's by you've broken some. I don't know of any other way to learn it as well. So, if you were doing this work, it was your first time or something, maybe order some extra A grafts just in case. Word of the wise. And be prepared to how to fix them if they break, how to get the post out. It's not that hard, but you might need a little guidance. Okay, so I've got them, and I turn them as far as I dare. So these are aligned, these are aligned, these are not, right? So I'm going to work on those. It's not too bad to do. The design of these A grafts makes it easier to make changes as to where they'll stop when they're tight. So we cut off the bottom of the shoulder on these with a cutting tool, and that makes it thinner, so then it'll spin a little further. So for these here, I just have to spin them just a little bit further than they were. So I'll just cut them on this tool a little bit. And now it should rotate just to where I need it to without being too tight. And if it doesn't, I'll cut a little more. Yeah, where did I put my T-handle? Oh, here it is. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't quite cut enough on that one. I could push it, which I did. So we're all right. But it gets a little scary, you know. You might just think twice before doing that. Especially if you've never broken one or two of these before and you're not sure when they would break. I like this job, putting on these A grafts. Putting on nice shiny new parts that are going to function well. Make the sound a little cleaner. I'm all about that, you know. This one we might be able to fudge. Yep, we can fudge it. Sometimes a second pass will allow you to turn just a little further after it's been sitting there for a bit. This is a pretty gnarly tool. It cuts through the brass like butter, just about. So I just get to know the patterns, you know, and how things line up on a piano just from doing a lot of them. And so allows me to get really close with this alignment, you know, just kind of by sight. That one I can fudge just a little more, get it with a little slightly more bravery the second time around, or stupidity. Jury's out on that one. Same thing here, and I don't know, man. Here we go. We're all right. This one, though, I do want to cut for sure, or it'll break. Sometimes the tightening them and rubbing them back and forth kind of does the same thing, cuts this edge or you know, flattens it against the harder metal that it's going into. So that's why it works sometimes to tighten them a little more. Or to kind of go back and forth like you saw me do. Oh no, don't even tell me. I went too far. I have a washer I can put. Now I could try and cut it further, but from my experience that's more difficult and we're a little lower than we want to be. So I have these washers I can stick in and change the rotation that way. I think this is what I want. And I have, these are brass washers and there's two different sizes, a larger and a skinnier. And you just kind of, with a little bit of small amount of trial and error, you can figure out how they will change the rotation. And honestly, I forget on this one what it's going to do, but we'll find out, and then I'll just adjust accordingly. Doesn't hurt anything, so I stuck that washer on there. So that props it up a little higher. So I'm either going to want to cut it down further, or we'll see how this washer, the washer, you know, hasn't been fit to the hole, so it might tighten quite a bit. And that is the case here. So we're just about, yeah, we're there. We got it that way. All right, I think I'm just going to under rotate these a little bit. If that, and they'll actually probably be correct. Once I get the strings on, I'm just kind of mimicking. There, look at that alignment on that section. See how they're all just beautifully fanned out like that? That's what we're going for. So we're going to do the same thing on the base section here for those that didn't align the first time around. And, I mean, we got a lot of freebies, which is good. Let's see if this one's really a stop. Yeah, that's a hard stop right there. Okay. So I don't need to cut this one much, if at all. It might just be rubbing the paint off once I take it off that would bring it to the right rotation. But I'll give it just a quick cursory cut. See if that does it for us. The sound effect is essential to getting it right, if you're wondering. Okay. Oh, look at that. Just nailed it right on. Perfect, and it's tight. That's what we like to see. So I'll need to cut just a few more rotations of my wrist. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's try 5. See what that does for us. We may be able to get there. Yeah, we can. And it's still snug, so we're good. We're good. One of my pet peeves is when there's a brand new piano and they just were kind of sloppy aligning these and they're kind of every which way. That happens. So I take a little more care, I think. Than the initial OEM. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see if that did it for us. So you use my techniques here. This won't take you very long. There we go. And it's not like there's only one position that it's going to be in. You have a little bit of slop room, little tolerance in the torque there of it. Let's see, I forget how deep this, or how far away this one is. I think it was about 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 little cuts. Seemed like it was a little further away than the others from being correct. Well, let's see if it'll turn anymore. Almost there. Do we dare? Yeah, we dare. Okay, we got it. This one, we definitely need to cut a little bit. It's too tight, otherwise it'll break. Just a couple little rotations of my wrist. And sweet. There it is. Next one. This one actually didn't feel that tight when I loosened it, so I'm just going to cut it once. Kind of smooth it off there. And that should be it. Okay. Nearly. There it is. All right, a couple more that are off, and then that's it for the A-grafts. They're done. All right. There it is. Okay, A-grafts are aligned. Moving on. I think I'm gonna push this piano over to the string and felting station. We're cruising on this thing. We got the decals, we got the, what do you call it, A-grafts in. Let's see, does anyone have any comments, questions? Let me check here. No, hi Jeffrey though. Thanks for the shout out. Okay. Get my power cord here up and we'll transfer to the next station. Okay, we're gonna put some felt, get some felt going for this, and a few areas, different areas that need to be felted. I actually have a piece of felt from my last piano that we did the other day, but you know, enough to do one little part, but not two. So let's see what we got. I'm gonna go locate the felt that I want for this part. It's a very firm felt, and I like the felt that's not, you know, too faded. Sometimes I'll get a faded color on it. This is the stuff I got here. This looks good to me. It's kind of what I'm looking for there. And I'm gonna get my yellow fabric pencil that kind of the yellow disappears or just rubs right off it easily. Just nice for marking, and it's not gonna permanently mark it. Just gonna put it on that bar, and I'm gonna draw the angle of this plate strut here and cut that out so that I can put it on the piano. Right. Spread things out just a little bit here and clean up a tidy a little shake or two. This is really nice felt fabric that we're putting on here. It's really quality, thick, woven felt. It's not the flimsy light stuff that some people will use. I'm going to cut this at an angle here, leaning so that it'll kind of lean towards the plate. So it'll butt up against the plate really nice and smooth. Okay, like that. You know what? Too much of an angle. I got to change that a little bit because it's pushing it away from the plate. So I got to trim that a little bit. Different angle slightly. Let's try that. That looks a little better. Looks a little better there. There we go. I feel the bump of the next one and I make a mark more or less right on the bump, close to it. And you kind of have to do one piece at a time with this because I like to fit it together like a glove. So I'm going to lean at an angle here when I cut this, maybe a 45, maybe not quite, whatever I can pull off. Now check this. If you haven't seen it before, check this out. Okay. Goes there, and then this next piece with that angle just right like a glove, okay? It's right there. Now, so I'm going to hold this here, fill that bump, make a mark just shy of that bump or right on it, kind of almost. I get better at this as I do it a few times. And I just did it recently, that probably helps. But this is what they're doing on the new ones as far as the way it looks, how it has that angle that butts up against the next piece. That's what I'm seeing on the new Steinway pianos. Now this, when you mark it, you have to mark higher up the side than what you would think. Otherwise it would be too short. So this one, same thing. I just keep leaning in the same direction on that section. Now if it's well, let's just see how it goes. Yeah, that's good. See, now those are all fit like it, together nicely. I'm going to grab now I have to cut the strip. I've been cutting this angle. I got to go back this angle to go up against this side. So I kind of straightened this out. I need to cut a different angle here. I'm going to mark that angle now. And then trim it again. There, that should go up against there a lot better than it does. So then I mark this. I feel the bump underneath the next segment and make a mark here. Okay, there's that, and they fit together like a glove. Next bump, and just shy of the bump. Cut it. Okie dokie. Oh, I forgot my piece. Okay, you're going to keep measuring with those in the right position there. There you go. Okay, and we'll go all the way to the end. You have to mark it kind of higher up than you think. I was just thinking, I wonder what this kind of pencil is called. I got it a long time ago and I just keep using it. It's not worn out. It says water soluble dressmaking pencil, if anyone wanted to know. Water soluble dressmaking pencil, and I just kind of rub it off the felt and it's gone. Okay, so I've got these pieces, but they can't go quite up against the bar because this front corner is in the way. So I need to sand that front and bottom corner off because these kind of have a scoop to them like that. Okay, so I'm going to do that now. Yes, sir. I just do that on the belt sander over here. I'll give you this view here. You'll get the idea. I'll zoom in on that belt sander. Yes. Okay, there we go. All right. So these are the front corners. I have it oriented the same way, so I know it's this front corner. Oh, I need power. What do you know? What do you know, Joe? All right, this corner. kind of rounds that off. Ow! Don't do that. Got myself good that time. So, you know, watch for that if you're doing that kind of thing. Okay, so now I'm sticking these pieces on here like so. And they'll go right up now up against the bar because I filed them that way. What happened here? Did I get out of order? Don't know, but I did. Let's see. No fear. All working out. So maybe this one goes here, huh? I think they just were kind of similar and I switched two of those. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Sure, why not? It's kind of the same thing. Either way, these are the same length, kind of. Now I can glue these down and tack them down, and now it'll be ready to string. Okay. Which I shall do. I'm gonna glue these. Finger that caught the sander's a little sore, as you can imagine. Okay, so I'm just gonna get this one out of the way. I'm gonna spread glue along this corner, kind of all over here, so it sticks not really well. Might stop short a little bit of the other side. I'm just gonna stick that there. And that will glue down for me. Okay, next one. So on and so forth. Well, that one didn't want to stick, did it? We'll get it to stick. We'll get it to behave here. Watch this. Got a little trick for that one. It's threatening to come up there. Ooh, you see the trick? All right, I'm gonna do the. Just keep going on it here. And if the glue squeezes out a little bit on that one side of the bar, it's going to dry clear, so it's not a big deal to me. I can scrape it off here in a second, and when it's a little more dry, and it's not going to be visible or cause any issues that way. So. Just kind of keep patting them down occasionally. It'll get them more and more stuck with that glue. It's a really great glue. It's nice and tacky. It's meant for tacking trim on quickly, wood trim and things. So it's great glue. Brilliant. Don't get any glue on the top of the red felt. Doesn't look sightly. Very good. The strings go over this and cinch it down. You don't really need like glue everywhere. The strings will, this is just to tack them down for when we put the strings on. Now I do need to get my screw in there. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I'll pull this up a little bit. Should be fine. I should be able to get in there fine. Even if I had to rip it off and re-glue it, it's not going to hurt anything. But I do need to remember that. Okay. Those pieces looking good on there. I'm going to go find the piece now that goes in the middle. It's got cardboard and there's felt on it. I'm going to go find the old one and re-felt it. I can't glue it down right now because we got to put screws here, but I can put the felt on. I can get it ready. So I'm going to go locate that. Okay, let's see which one of these will fit the best. Most likely came from it here. I think it's this one actually. Maybe not. Not this one. They're kind of the same shape. Yeah, that's it. No, that's a little bit short, like this direction. Yeah, I think it was. So we're going to refelt this. So I'm going to tear off the old brown felt here, and there's cardboard underneath. And I want to sand. There's a little bit of felt that gets stuck there. I'm just going to sand that off on the sander. Break another fingernail off, probably, like I just did. Okay. Show you how I like to do that. Okay, so this is like with most things, when you get a good procedure down and right materials and stuff, it's not hard, right? That's the point. Come up with something good so it's not hard to do. So I'm gonna get some of this nice thick red clove. Okay, we're gonna go. Not going to quite fit on that one, so we'll go from looks like where we cut before, like that. We'll just use that same shape. That's from the last piano I did. It kind of has the same curvature, so hey, you might as well use it, right? So I don't need to do anything fancy here. I'm just going to cut roughly around it and enough on the side so that I can fold it in towards the middle. It wasn't that way, but what I like is to get a little extra height on this part. Because I want to raise it up a little bit. It'll help the coils on the tuning pin stay tight together. Is what the effect is of doing that. So, and again, I don't need it to mate perfectly together. Just want to get under there enough to raise the height of this cardboard a fair amount. Okay. So now I'll get my chair to be comfy. And a slick way to do this, if you want to do it this way, is to just get your glue all on the top first. And look, this is kind of floppy. That does not bother me at all. It's not going to matter at all as far as the stringing and all that. The strings hold this down. You know, it's not like a load-bearing thing that in that way where it needs to. It's not structural at all. Okay, so I'm just going to spread this on the top. This is pretty thick, tacky glue. So you might think like, oh, well, you can just whatever. I mean, I could smear it with my finger, but then my finger's all gluey, right? Like in a major way. Just makes it a messier job. I like doing this way. It works just fine. But I do want to cover the whole surface on this. And depending on, my cloth is really thick. This glue's not going to bleed through. But if you had a thin cloth, you got to bear that in mind and do a thinner layer so it doesn't bleed through the cloth and look ugly that way. Okay, so I just do the whole surface right there. I flop it upside down. You do want to keep track of which way is top and bottom if you're not as familiar, right? So flip that upside down. And I'm just going to let that tack onto the top, which doesn't take too long. And now I'm going to start with, I'm going to clean my hands first. They're pretty dirty, so let me wash them real quick. I find myself constantly washing my hands. When you're dealing with new parts and you want it to look like a new piano, and you're sanding 1 minute, sanding metal 1 minute, and gluing and painting and all kinds of stuff. You gotta kind of pay attention to that. Okay, so here I'm just gonna guesstimate how far that's gonna wrap over there, and here it's not very much. I'll just take that into account. And it doesn't matter, by the way. It won't matter at all. But the first thing I'm going to do, well, I'll spread this out here where it's going to wrap. I do want it to make contact everywhere on that felt, just so it's nice and tight down. And where it gets thinner, we'll just glue accordingly. Now, here's one of my secrets to get it to look really nice. Put glue right there on the edge of the cardboard, all along the edge. Because we actually want it to stick to that surface. Obviously you can't get too much, but that's good. So now I'm going to work one side at a time this way. So I can just fold this over, and I'm pulling it tight, and I'm just holding here. And it'll take a little while for the glue to be tacky enough to keep it, and for the felt to kind of iron over. Well, I'll just keep pulling, keep ironing, keep tacking, and it'll eventually stick in a permanent way. Okay, this one's sticking pretty quick. Very nice, very nice. Just keep tending this. With the faithfulness of a faithful canine or something, I don't know. Just keep tending it, keep tacking it down until I don't have to tend it anymore. If I get glue on this part of the felt, it doesn't matter, this is the bottom. So I'll make sure my fingers are clean. We'll start to work the other side. I mean, if this side starts to come up, I'll kind of tidy that up, but I don't think it will at this point. I think it's done. It's done its thing, a nice smooth wrap edge around there. So now I'll do the same thing here with the felt. We're going to see kind of where it goes and put glue all over there. Let that kind of get tacky for a sec and set up, and then I'm gonna, while I do the edge here. And you know what? I'm gonna start doing. I haven't done this very much, but I'm gonna start tacking it right there. I think it might help keep this part down and whatnot. Okay, I think I'm ready to start pulling it over. And I might sit here for a second right initially, because that glue's not quite tacky at first. Takes a couple sticks. And you'll learn that the ends and the areas, certain areas of curvature will kind of resist the most, you know, and you just have to kind of keep working them. The bigger the flap, the easier it is to fold and tack it, because it molds to the shape and there's enough force with the cloth there. Okay, so this is much thicker than what was on there as far as how high it'll stand off of the piano, which is what I want, okay? Because it helps the coils on the tuning pins stay tight. It's stay up high where they should be. Okay, now I'm gonna trim this, but I'm gonna trim it a little bit long, because if your piece is not like tight fitting in the section, if you just add a little more felt on the ends, it kind of just makes a nice tight thing, like it was meant to be there. Like it just kind of grows out of the plate, you know. This one will be a little long too, and I can trim this shorter later if I deem necessary. These parts on the bottom kind of stick out funny if I don't trim them a little bit like that. So that's why I do that part. Okay, now I'll just show you how it's going to fit in the piano. We're not going to glue it there because we have to put in those screws when they come back from the platers that go underneath this piece right here. But we'll stick this here. Now the felt was a little longer and maybe a little too long on this side. Maybe it's climbing up the side of that just a little too much, you know. So I'll trim that tighter. Be right back. All right, I just trimmed that a little tighter to the cardboard, and now it provides some, you know, goes right to the edgeness. The strings will kind of spread everything out as they start to cinch. That's going to look great. Now let me reiterate. I don't know. Am I teaching today? I guess I'm teaching. Okay, so you don't want this too close here. You can't get the strings over. That's bad news. You want it back, sitting back about as far as you can, and still get your tuning pins in those holes. So something like that. If you're looking straight down on it, it'll kind of look like this, okay? So something like that's probably a little more appropriate in there. You got to go forward just a touch. Okay? So that's that piece. See how beautiful that looks? I just love the look of the piano. You know, this corner's up on purpose because I got to get a screw under there. All right, now I want to do felt on the base. And there's this bump in the middle that's meant to have felt on it, like it looks like, it's supposed to look like a piece of wood or something that's just totally felted clean. So I'm going to decide how wide of a strip I want. So I already have some strips that are cut from that I use for a different purpose, but I want to see if this is too wider if this will do it. You know what? This is just perfect. The size of this strip here, I don't need to do anything special. It's already cut for me. Oh, look, and it's already the angle of the plate. Check this. Check this. It just magically is already cut at that angle. So I'm going to use it. Use it or lose it. Okay. So all I need to do, really, honestly, I could just get some scissors from at this point and decide where I want to trim this other side. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so here's my scissors. So I'm going to determine a good length for this. This kind of stretches out when you glue it. So you have to anticipate that. It stretches out a little bit. I'm just going to mark this with my thumb and kind of cut it where I think it's going to work. And then test it out. And lo and behold, it's going to be just right there. So notice I have it a little short. It doesn't quite go to the end, but it's going to after I glue it. Okay. And I'm going to form fit this thing to this bump. So I'm going to put glue all along the bottom surface to do that. So I'm just going to do it right here on this beautiful new soundboard. But don't worry, if I spill it on the soundboard, I can just wipe it right off. Won't hurt anything. And this part doesn't get shown anyway. It's covered by a rail. But I want glue on every edge, the whole surface, just really glued nicely. Because then it will tack to that bump, and it, like I said, just be really form-fitting, and it'll look really nice and clean. I don't know about where I've chosen to do the glue here. I don't know if it's working for me here. All right, I'm just gonna get in the way of the camera probably. Just to bear with me. Got a job to do here. Get that glue on there. Soundboard is so resonant. The Sitka spruce is just such a hard, I don't know how to describe it, just such a hard resonant wood. Amazing. I'm just going to leave just enough place for my fingers to hold that while I set it in place. Then I'll put glue on there in a second. Okay, now if I think, oh yeah, it goes this way, so I just carefully grab the edge to guide it down so I don't get glue everywhere on the piano. Make a mess of things, right? Don't want to do that. If you get glue on your fingers, just a little friction, wipe it off. Okay, I'm gonna put some glue on the end of this in a second. First, I'll just kind of set this down for an initial tack, and so that I can kind of stretch it out along here. Stretch it out, stretch it out. Starting to tack, starting to feel like it's becoming one with the plate. Put some glue on this end. Come on, glue. I love working with my hands on these pianos, that's for sure. It's very satisfying. Okay, so let that fall in. And So that's starting to kind of just tack to that bump. See how nice that looks? Now, what I'm going to do to make it even better, get a little card out, some kind of plastic card. And you can kind of just run that plastic along there, and it'll form fit even better to the bump down there by the A grafts and get out of their way. Whoa, that's nice. We'll run it on this side and make that. I like to see where the bar is in the shape of the felt. I think it looks classy. There, I kind of made a mistake. You gotta be careful there, but I like to see where the edge of that bar is. Same thing, you just kind of keep tending it and it will eventually be very tacked on right where you want it to. See how that just looks really form fit, tight, food everywhere. So neat and tidy. Show you here a little close up. See, you see the line there? It fits really snug against that. Make sure we're as snug as we can be. Yep, that's the shape of the bar right there. So it just looks really profesh. Okay, which is what we do here, right? Okay then. Maybe a little more here. Just hold this to the side a little bit. See, there's more than one use for your credit debit card or whatever. All right. So there's our felt there. Now I need some strips of felt. And, whoa, you know what? Bleeding all over the place. Sorry about that. Not sure how that happened. Okay, but guess what? So I got that felt down. I've got these felt pieces ready. All the front, right? Next steps, I got to put some strips of felt right there, and then on the base. But guess what? It's quitting time. So see if there's any burning questions on the chat. Oh, this is a different piano, AV. I got that other piano done out the door, the one that we strung. So, yeah, that's what we do here, one after another, the same thing. So, anyway, I'm going to sign out for quitting time, and we'll catch you all another time. We'll see you later. Bye.